Hey guys, Mr. Gershi here again. In this tutorial I'm going to be going over how to create a scatter plot graph for a correlation study. We're going to learn how to include a best fit line and put our R-squared value within the graph. Okay? I'm not going to go through the whole thing about making a data table that was in the other tutorial, but I do want to convert these numbers to all the same decimal place. So I'm just going to do that by formatting the cells, going to number, and it looks like we have everything to one decimal place, just so everything's the same when we go to graph our data. Alright, so here we're looking at a study of rats, and we're seeing if there's a correlation to the amount of protein consumed in grams to a gain in mass in kilograms for each rat. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a scatter plot graph and put a line of best fit in to see what the correlation value is. So we can start by highlighting our data. Okay, we're going to go to Insert, and we're going to go to here, Insert Scatter. Alright, and we're just going to choose the one up here in the upper left hand corner, and that's going to be our scatter plot. Okay, I'm just going to move this down so we have some room. We're going to get rid of that title, so we don't want that. And now simply here we just want to include our line of best fit. So we can see on our axes, alright, here we have our mass gained, okay, and then down here is going to be the amount of protein consumed in grams. So the mass gained is our dependent variable versus our independent variable of mass gained. So we need to include our best fit line. So we're going to go right down here to trend line. Alright. We're just looking, if you want to go to more options you can, but typically we're just looking at a linear trend line. Now in more options, what we may want to look at here is we have to look, because right now we're here in the fill-in line. Okay, the effects, we want to make sure we're going to go to trend line options. So if you get lost, this is what we're looking at. So we're at linear, and what we want to do is we want to display, you can display the equation on the graph, and you can also display the R-squared value. Alright, you always want to have at least the R-squared value. If you want to show the equation of the line, you can. Not necessarily completely necessary for your labs, but you definitely, anytime you run a scatter plot, you want to include your R-squared value, because that's what's going to tell you the strength of the correlation. Alright, so obviously we have a positive correlation here. The closer it is to 1, alright, that's a stronger positive correlation. R-squared value of 0 gives you basically no correlation between, and then a negative is an inverse relationship. So based on our data here, we can see that we have a positive correlation between the amount of mass gained based on how much protein is consumed by the rats. Now again, if you want to go through, we want to label our axes. So we go here, we're going to go to axis titles. So on this axis, okay, we're looking at our mass gained, okay, and that's going to be in kilograms. And again, if it were an IB lab, you would be putting in your uncertainties here, most likely, looking at probably plus or minus, we're going to the nearest tenth, so plus or minus 0.05 kilograms would be, in that case, our uncertainty. And down here, this is protein consume. That is in grams. All right. So again, just a simple scatter plot graph. Again, do not include a title. Below your graph, you would have a figure number, whatever, if it's the first graph. Okay, you could have figure 1, and you put your descriptor down here below the graph, basically giving a brief description in a sentence or so of what the data is telling us and what the graph represents. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Remember, the other tutorial showed you about creating the statistical analysis for each and creating a bar graph with error bars on it. Okay, thanks for watching.